Hi there, welcome to Neppy Invest. Time for a week 10 update to my momentum sentiment portfolio. Now, I made three purchases this week, and because I made these three purchases, I decided just to streamline this video. I think it was going to become too long if I just looked at every single holding I had within this portfolio, and just to streamline it and make it a little bit shorter, a little bit easier to follow, and not as boring maybe. So an interesting week where actually my portfolio underperformed the market. Now this is a rare thing, but it does happen on occasion. And the overall market, the XJR actually rose 1.2% this week. And my portfolio was about even, maybe slightly down for the week. Now the other exciting thing about the XJO is we had seen it trading between a range of about 6,600 and 6,750 or something like that. And we needed to see it break above that range so that first or the top horizontal line there, which is in blue, that was the resistance line. Every time it reached that, it pulled back. And over the week, we did see it break above that, and it closed at 6,800 for the week. So we would like to see it remain above that level. And if it does remain above that level, we'll see potentially moves higher in the Australian market. Doesn't necessarily mean it will, but that is that potential. So I did make three purchases this week. So Kogan, Zip, and Hammer Metals. I made these three purchases for different reasons. Kogan was just this retail sales thematic that we are seeing increases in retail sales, not necessarily on sales, online sales, but I think the long-term future for online sales in Australia is quite positive. Zip was all based off their announcement they did release. I did buy or make a purchase in Zip into my long-term growth portfolio, so I won't touch that for a while, but I did make a bit of a trade about the short-term or medium-term future for the Zip share price. I do believe it's undervalued when compared to its peers, and I believe there is potential it might go on a run, especially since it had a very positive update. And Hammer Metals, that was just based off a massive spike in volume because of a very positive announcement they made. And I decided to buy in on subsequent days at 7.5 cents. So this is the week 10 update to my portfolio. Overall, doing pretty well. Only one company that I'm disappointed with, and that is Gentrack, down 13.8%. And really, it's gone past my sell signal, but I'm keeping a hold of it just because, well, I'll tell you a reason why, because I am doing an individual slide on Gentrack. Overall, my best overall performing companies, so since I've bought into them, are also among my worst performing companies for the week, and that include Michael Hill Jewelers, Stonehorse, and BlueScope, all down around between about 4 and 17%. And I think there is a potential that all those three companies could be my best performing companies next week. Best performing companies over the week were Dusk, SG Fleet, BrainChip, and South 32. And my best performing companies since I bought in are still Stonehorse at a gain of 39%, and BlueScope still trading far behind, also at 37.8%. So what I'm going to do now is just look at some of these companies on an individual basis. Not all of them, just some of them. So this is BlueScope. Now I've got a bit of support here at $17. Every time it's got just below $17 or near $17, it's popped up. And we actually saw that on the last trading day. The share price went as low as $16.60. And as soon as it went that low near the start of trading, we saw a fair bit of buying coming into the market, and it closed at about $17. Now a few weeks ago, it broke above $18, which I thought was a good price of support that it could hold on to. And the reason why, you can see a profit upgrade in November, and the share price got to $18 with that profit upgrade. I'm not sure why everyone's selling out of BlueScope, because based on that profit upgrade, the share price should be rising. So this just shows you that not all profit upgrades lead to share price increases. But there is a potential we might see share price of BlueScope rise past $19 in the future, particularly have to have a really good half-year report. Next company I'm going to look at is South 32, and the main reason I'm looking at this is just the last trading day. We did see the price rise to $2.77, so that's a high, almost yearly high, and we're still in a really good uptrend with South 32. It looked a bit dicey a few weeks ago when the share price got below $2.50, but that was a little bit of a buy the dip situation. You can see low volume during that dip as well, and since then we have seen the share price rise. So nice looking chart here with South 32. It does have the potential to get to $4, $4.50, especially if the commodity prices, I do believe, will go through a bit of a boom over the next 2 or 3 years. Costa Group, it's been a fairly disappointing stock over the last 2 weeks. Looked like it did break out above a bit of a resistance pattern around $4.15 to $4.20, but then it pulls straight back on good volume. So I think what happened when we saw that price rise, there were maybe one or two fund managers who saw the opportunity to sell out, and when they decide to sell out, they don't really care, just sell at market, and that's why we saw the share price pull back and pulled back to around $4, which has been sort of the price it's been trading around for about 3 months or so. So I'd like to see the next half-yearly report or yearly report that's been released in February, because the previous catalyst for the share price increase was their report in last August. So I'm keeping a close eye on this. One of the things they have that has affected their share price in the last few years has been the drought, and definitely the drought is not a massive factor this time around. So very interested to see what their report shows, and hopefully we'll see a very good report and the share price can rebound accordingly. Next I'm going to look at is Smart Group. I'll talk about SG Fleet, I think maybe in another slide, but SG Fleet is maintaining a good uptrend. I've got this blue line, it's not blue, it's brown line here, which denotes the uptrend. If it stays above that uptrend, that'd be fairly bullish. Now I did buy maybe a little bit too possibly at around, I think it was $6.95 a few weeks ago. It came back, it tested that the trend line, and then it's bouncing up again. So hopefully this goes above $7 and remains above $7. So still fairly bullish about Smart Group moving forward. And lo and behold, I am talking about SG Fleet here. Again, there was a little bit of nervousness in the market for a few weeks. The share price went from about $2.65 and was testing $2.20, but it's bounced off that. In fact, if you look at a few wicks there, candlesticks there, not wicks, candlesticks there, you see some very long-tailed wicks, which is a sign of buying pressure whenever the share price got between about $2.20, $2.30, which is suggesting there is someone buying up at those levels. We also see volume drying up since about middle of November, so not a lot of interested parties within SG Fleet. If we start to see some interested fund managers coming in, buying up, we'll see the share price go on a bit of a run. Likewise, if we see a fund manager selling out, we might see the share price go down. Another company we're not to see their next either half-yearly or yearly report, which should be released hopefully in February. I'm not 100% sure about that, so don't quote me on it. And the last company I'm going to be looking at is Gentrack. And now this has gone below $1.30, which was my sell signal. Now it's gone through $1.30 on large volume, which I'm thinking at the moment was or is a fund manager selling out. And when they decide to sell out, they don't care about the price, they just sell at market. You sort of see that in the depth. So on the right there, I've got the depth. You can see there's not a lot of selling in there, or sellers. You can see the top seller is $1.27, the next one is $1.34.5, and the next one $1.40, the next one after that $1.45. It won't take a lot for this share price to go on a bit of a run if this fund manager has sold out. So there's not particularly true that a fund manager is selling out, but just because we've seen a peak in volume over the last 4 trading days coinciding with the share price dropping, probably does suggest there is a fund manager selling out. Now, I am long-term bullish about Gentrack. I just think I might have bought in a little bit too early, and maybe this deserves to be more in my long-term portfolio than my short-term momentum sentiment portfolio. So I might transition this company to my long-term growth portfolio. That way I don't have to sell out. So that's all I've got for week 10 update to my momentum sentiment portfolio. 3 buys this week: Hogan, Zip, and Hammer. Very interested to see what happens with Hammer over the next few weeks. I do have to think it has a potential to go on a bit of a run. Only a potential at this stage, doesn't mean it will. But otherwise, I'm not a professional advisor, so just because I own some of these companies doesn't mean you have to. We're all different. We all have different investing strategies, and mine can be completely different than yours. But the whole point of doing these videos is to give you some ideas, and hopefully some of these ideas will give you some inspiration. You can do some research and find that this is a great buy, or potentially even a sell once you do some research. So that's all for today's video. Have a good day and see you later. Bye.